So, Justin, I have a
What's
question
up,
for
man?
you. Do you have a favorite muffin?
Should we like narrow it down to like Costco muffins? You have like a good background in that, or just in general?
I do. Costco has what I would consider top tier muffins.
Okay. My favorite go-to always is just double chocolate.
Really, the double chocolate?
Yeah, I think so. Because then especially if it's breakfast, you just get like a nice glass of milk or something, right?
You know what? You bring up a good point. I bring this up
Okay.
because, like I said, I think Costco has some of the best muffins.
I agree.
The only thing I think that beats out Costco muffins are homemade muffins.
Really? Are you a connoisseur of homemade muffins?
I do, specifically my mother's muffins.
Okay. What does she make?
made, or one of her friends made, a batch of banana nut muffins
Okay.
that I would probably die for. They were delicious. They were the
they moist?
muffins that, like, 3 days later, were still a little moist.
Nice. Well done.
They were, again,
What's her
to
name?
absolutely die for. Mary.
Mary. So
Yeah.
Mary the muffin lady.
Yeah, Mary. What's that? What's the muffin song?
The muffin man.
Do you know the muffin?
Yeah, that
Do
one.
you know Mary the Muffin Woman?
There you go.
Because I do. We should probably get this started. This was
I
an
agree
irregular
that
opening.
Costco far and away has some of the best muffins in the business.
I would
as
agree
well,
with that, though,
for that price
100%.
point, right? As
Oh,
always.
without a doubt.
As always. All right. Yeah, I guess we can get this rolling.
All right,
As
cool.
I'm running the show solo once again, because what's that guy's name? And Andrew Tenney. That's right. Another episode where he failed to show up, and by failed to show up, I mean he has his actual job that is preventing him from being here. But that is all right.
How could he miss the world-renowned locker room is the real question.
And episode number 53. I mean, come on. It's a horrid excuse that he actually had to go to work. But that's all right. I am here, just your host, Justin Reed, alongside nobody. Just me today. This is The Locker Room, episode number 53, presented by Spokane Talks and sponsored by both Lucky Bird and Windermere. And I think it's my turn to do a Windermere read, right? I think so.
I believe so.
I think, or not Windermere, sorry, a Lucky Bird read.
I knew what you were saying.
I'm pretty excited here. This is the third time. Andrew was generous enough to forward me his ad read here. So let's get rolling here with Lucky Bird. The Locker Room is sponsored by Lucky Bird, a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company dedicated to helping local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. Visit luckybirdbrands.com to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today. Truly, if you do want to find the best company in the world, actually. If we're doing an Olympics on digital marketing companies, they're gold every time.
Every time.
Every
Every
single time. It's not even close, actually. So visit Lucky Bird Brands today to get that process rolling. Let's get this show rolling. You're down here in the Holly Mason Building, downtown Spokane. Episode number 53, and as usual, we'll open up with a couple jerseys here. Former Mariners players who wore number 53. Arthur Rhodes, big-time reliever for the Mariners. Big Arthur Rhodes guy here. He is as a Cincinnati Red. Always liked Arthur Rhodes. Don't remember too much of him. He was early, mid-2000s, but I always appreciated him. Greg Dobbs, who is an old-time Mariners, actually drafted by the Mariners. Didn't spend much time there before he was released. David Aardsma was a Mariners closer for a long time. If I'm not mistaken, he is the first, alphabetically, he is first in Major League history. AARDSMA is his last name. That's kind of a fun fact. Dan Altavilla, number 53, was just traded from the Mariners to the Padres. Has some of the largest thighs in the business. It's actually pretty insane. Dan Altavilla also can throw 95 plus. That always helps when you're a baseball player. Switching over to the Seahawks, Keith Butler was one of the first players to wear number 53 for the Seahawks. He actually is now the defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played 10 years for Seattle. He was the linebackers coach in 2005 when the Seahawks lost to the Steelers in Super Bowl 40. So he's kind of a traitor on one hand as well. Had a really good 10-year career with the Seahawks. Finished second all-time when he retired in tackles as a member of the Seahawks. Nico Kudavides, only with the Seahawks for a year, but I'll always remember his name. Malcolm Smith, Super Bowl MVP. Malcolm Smith Hasn't done much. Here he is as a Cleveland Brown. I actually didn't realize that, so that's always good to know. Caught the game sealing interception in the NFC Championship game before the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl against the Niners in the NFC Championship game. And finally, Joey Hunt, center, number 53. Hair like that, you got to be famous, right?
That is an impressive mane.
It's a very impressive mane. You don't see it too often in the NFL. And some of the reason for that is you can actually be tackled by your hair in the NFL. There's no rule to grab hair. So that's kind of you could literally.
The more you know, man.
If you go back, you can actually look up highlight videos of people pulling out dreads of players as they run by, which can't be too comfortable. Not too comfortable at all. All right, so tonight we have the NBA draft. Pretty exciting. Usually a pretty fun time. Spokane has a pretty large connection to tonight, actually. Potential of 3 players going in the first round. Most likely 2, but a potential 3. Obviously, Jalen Suggs will be going. Corey Kispert will also be going today as well. That starts at 5 o'clock tonight. You can catch it on ESPN. As you can see here on the screen, that will be happening in the Barclays Center in New York. Both Corey Kispert and Jalen Suggs will be in attendance in the green room, so you'll see them go up to the commissioner, give him a hug, all the fun, normal stuff that they do. Should be a good time. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I'm going to do a quick mock draft. We're going to figure out – I'll probably be wrong. Let's be honest here. There's going to be trades that are happening, so we're going to do this with the idea that trades are not going to be a factor tonight, which is also not going to happen considering there's been a lot of talk, a lot of movement here in the top 10, a lot of people who aren't quite sure. Oh, McWhippy's back. That's nice to see. He said, hello, guys. Too bad I'm here alone, but that's all right.
McWhippy, it's been a while.
I appreciate it. So let's get rolling here with who I believe will be drafted here in the top 10, which I'll extend to a top 11, and you will see why. Number 1, the Detroit Pistons have this pick. They're terrible last year. They could really use a guy who can score, who can become the new face of the franchise. They haven't had one of those in a long time. Most likely they will be picking Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. Most electric scorer in this draft, can pretty much do it all, create his own shot. He can pass it. He can lead a team. There's no doubts about his shot-making ability, his skill. He's a 6'8", 220 freshman out of Oklahoma State. In 2020, he scored 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and shot 40% from 3. Pretty much every mock draft in the country has him going number 1, so it would be a surprise to see anything else different come about 5:05 tonight. Cade Cunningham is expected to be the pick. Next, and with the second pick of the NBA draft, the Houston Rockets, who also were equally bad. Granted, they also didn't have anybody, and they traded their best player away. The Houston Rockets are also in need of a high-scoring playmaker, athletic, also freshman. And I expect them to pick Jalen Green here. And you can see him here in his jersey, the G League Ignite. He was the first player in basketball to ever take advantage of the G League rule and go straight to the G League instead of going to college basketball. We've talked about this a little bit on the show. I don't really agree with the G League aspirations that a lot of players have. Nobody knows of Jalen Green outside of basketball circles. A lot of that is because G League basketball is not super exciting in the grand scheme of things. That's why someone like Jalen Suggs, whose name will be coming up pretty darn quickly, made the right decision by going to college rather than the G League. Jalen Green, G League Ignite, 17.9 points a game, 4 rebounds, almost 3 assists, and shot just a tad over 36% from 3. He is also one of the more gifted, just pure scoring prospects in the draft. Plenty of room to grow at 6'5", 170. His body isn't quite matured. Plenty of room there for him to grow, but I expect him to go number 2 to the Rockets again because of the fact that he does have a high ceiling. I expect him to go number 2. Number 3, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, this is where a lot of people expected potentially Jalen Suggs to go. It looks like Evan Mobley has been kind of rising into that 3rd spot. A lot of people are projecting Evan Mobley to go number 3 here to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're looking at the Cavaliers, at least, are looking to move into the top 10 again, potentially grabbing another one of these top prospects. But here at number 3, they're going to take Evan Mobley, 7 foot 215 freshman out of USC, a very interesting 7-foot prospect, a guy who has very quick feet for his size, incredible shot blocking ability, helped USC have one of the top 2-point defenses in history a season ago, even though Drew Timme took advantage of him multiple times there in March Madness. Evan Mobley still has a lot of talent. 16 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot even 30% from 3, which for a guy his size with not really a ton of shooting acumen is not too bad. I just think Cleveland's backcourt and what they have right now with Colin Sexton, excuse me, is just going to prevent the Cavaliers from taking on Jalen Suggs. Mobley's just going to be the pick here. So that leaves number 4 going to the Toronto Raptors. Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga, of course. That'll be nice to see him coming off number 4. Not quite the highest draft pick in Gonzaga history. That still is going to be Adam Morrison, but arguably the most hyped prospect to come out of GU all time. Suggs had an incredible year leading one of the best college basketball teams of all time to almost an undefeated season. Averaged just over 14 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and shot 33% from 3. But a lot of what Jalen Suggs does on the basketball court goes beyond just his pure stats. He's a team leader. He organizes the team. He can break presses. He's quick on the defensive end, some of the quickest feet in the draft. He's young, which, again, another freshman coming off the board, which has been kind of the way college basketball has been going. Suggs was just a joy to watch. Probably the best playmaker and passer in the league coming into the league. Some of the passes he made last year, I mean, you could just look him up. You'll find him. It's impressive stuff. You got to love watching Jalen Suggs play. It would be a shame to lose him from GU next year, but I'm really excited to see what he'll be able to do in Toronto, a team that really isn't as bad as that number 4 pick is representing. He's going to essentially take over the Kyle Lowry role in Toronto. I just see Jalen Suggs going to 4. There have been some rumors floating around that the Golden State Warriors want to trade up into the spot. Now, if that does in fact happen and they take Jalen Suggs, could you imagine Jalen Suggs running an offense with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson next to him? What he was able to do with Corey Kispert would be child's play compared to what he could do in Golden State. But I expect, again, in this mock with no trades coming, I just expect Jalen Suggs here to go to Toronto, which is where he has been projected to go for a while. Pretty excited to see what he can do in Toronto. All right, moving on to number 5. We will have the Orlando Magic selecting Scotty Barnes out of Florida State. Scotty Barnes and the rest of the Florida State Seminoles are an extremely athletic team. You see a lot of impressive just skills coming from Scotty Barnes. He's kind of gone under the radar here, but he's a guy who should go top 5, 6'8", freshman, 225, like I said, out of Florida State. Just over 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and shot a little under 30% from 3 on the season. He doesn't quite have a jump shot. He's not a very splashy pick, but he's a very competitive, hard-nosed guy coming out of that Seminoles program. Expect him to go number 5 here to the Magic. Number 6, Oklahoma City Thunder will be selecting James Bouknight out of UConn, a sophomore, the first non-freshman to be picked in this mock. I have him going to the Thunder, 6'5", 190, scored just a shade under 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot under 30% from 3. But he's really risen over the last couple weeks to get himself into the top echelon of this lottery. Sounds like the Thunder kind of fell in love with him. He shot lights out at his pro day. He measured well in all of his drills. Very versatile backcourt guy. He can do it all. There's a couple options Thunder could go with here, but I just have been hearing and seeing that it looks like he will be going, the shooting guard out of UConn will be going to the Thunder at number 6. Moving on to number 7 here, I have Franz Wagner out of Michigan going to the Oklahoma State Warriors. Did they say Oklahoma? I just said the Oklahoma State Warriors, didn't I?
You definitely did.
I definitely did.
It's okay. We'll forgive you.
I'm all over the place. See, this is what happens when Andrew's not here.
It's all Andrew's fault. Definitely.
It is all Andrew's fault, but that's all right. We're gonna keep it rolling here. Franz Wagner out of Michigan going to the Golden State Warriors. Again, another guy who actually I saw in person a couple years ago at the NCAA tournament. He's a sophomore. I saw him last year, actually. Very athletic looking guy. Kind I'm not super confident with this pick. I'm not a huge fan, but he is another versatile guy, still only 19 years old. Has the frame, the shooting, the defense to be an early NBA contributor, but still has the ability to grow into his body style. He's fine here. Again, don't love it, but that's where I have him right now. Number 8 for the Magic, I have Jonathan Kuminga of the G League. Second G League guy to come off the board. He was considered to be a possible number 1 pick after dominating the G League early on, but some question marks came from his offensive efficiency and his approach, which is bumping him down, which could potentially be a big steal for the Magic here at number 8. Very impressive athlete coming out of the G League. Some people have him a little bit lower here. Again, a lot of the issues surrounding his approach have gone very noticed in the NBA circles. He scored just a shade under 15 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 24% from 3, a 6'8", 205-pound strong forward out of the Congo. A lot of upside here with his length and athleticism. Could definitely help the Warriors moving forward. Number 9, going to who does have the ninth pick? The Kings. There we go. Is Alperen Sengun out of. He plays for Besiktas, Turkey. Very big in the kind of nerd analytics circles. A lot of potential here. A lot of guys have been very obsessed with what he can do. He averaged 19 points and 9 rebounds a game for a very young guy. Again, he's an international guy, 6'10", 240, who's played professionally for a few years now. The fact that he plays for a good professional team, he has a lot of fans already, could draw a lot of Turkey fans to the Magic. But I have him going there. Number 10, I have... Let's go Josh Giddey, heading to Memphis. He is out of Australia. He's, again, not quite 19 years old. Memphis traded up here, actually, already, and I think this is who they're looking at. He's the best passer in the draft. He and Suggs are probably 1A, 1B. He's another big-bodied wing, which in today's NBA is very important to have. I very much like his size, 6'8", 205. I think, it's talked about the Warriors having interest in him at 7. That could be a possible fit there. I just think he's going to fall. That international with COVID, I don't think people were able to quite see as many people in person as they would have liked. So I think he would be a decent fit here at 10. And to throw in number 11, because I can, we're going to put Corey Kispert going number 11 to the Charlotte Hornets, the first upperclassman in the first round, and actually one of the only upperclassmen who will be going, one of a few here in the 2021 draft. I have him here at 11, which is a little early in some drafts that I've seen, but I really like his upside with LaMelo Ball there in Charlotte. Another big-bodied guy, play from day one. Shooting's going to translate to the league just fine. Imagine LaMelo Ball, who's just as good of a passer as Jalen Suggs was. Imagine him off the ball from LaMelo Ball, just taking a pass and, knocking down 40+% of his threes. His hustle, his rebounding, essentially makes him an instant contributor to the league. I really like what Kispert can do. Obviously, as a 4-year starter at GU, he did a lot of special things. 6'7", 224, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and shot 45% from 3. I just really like what he could do in Charlotte. I would love to see him go 11. I would love to see him go in the lottery, actually, wherever he ends up going, if that does happen. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be fun. If GU can get 2 guys going to the lottery this season, I think it's really going to set them up well for future drafts moving forward. Gets a lot of guys wanting to come in, more potential, more options to be drafted higher up. So that's happening again. NBA draft tonight at 5 p.m. on ESPN, happening in the Barclays Center in New York. Hopefully, we will see a lot of GU names come off the board. Looking forward, at end of the first round, maybe, but probably early second, will be Joel Ayayi. Right now, ESPN has him going 36 to the Thunder, which would be unfortunate. I don't want to see a GU player play for the Thunder, but it is what it is. Filip Petrusev, who left GU last year, played internationally for a year, is also projected to be drafted sometime in the second round, most likely. Had a very good year internationally. We'll see if he makes that jump to the league as well. How was that? That pretty good breakdown? You think I'm going to be spot on?
Yeah. I think you will probably be 100% correct, or you'll be entirely wrong.
That's or a little right and a little wrong.
That's the third option.
That's the third
I'm
option.
I'm really toeing the line with my opinion on that one.
Yeah, you're riding that fence, which is fine.
What
You
can I
know,
say? It's a specialty.
You have to. McWhippy wants to know where Gingy is.
Gingy is at work.
That's pretty funny, actually.
That is really funny. He's
Good.
not tech guy anymore.
He's not tech guy anymore. He's Gingy next week when he shows up.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
Good. All right. So we've had this. We're gonna shift gears a little bit. You know, this whole COVID aspect again has really altered the draft. It altered college basketball. It's altered sports in general. We're seeing this very interesting dynamic happening, specifically in pro sports and even more specifically in the NFL, where the NFL has required all coaching personnel and very highly suggesting that all players get vaccinated. It's a very interesting perspective because you look at what's going on in the NFL right now. Kirk Cousins, Cole Beasley, both have come out. Both have said essentially, Cole Beasley said, I'm not going to get it. I don't want it. I have no reason to get it. Kirk Cousins has come out and said, the NFL is essentially forcing us to get it. If you don't get the vaccine, your life is going to be hell. They're going to make it really rough on you. And so for the betterment of my teammates, for the betterment of the team and the success, I will in fact get vaccinated. So looking forward here, the Seattle Seahawks, 100% of all of their coaches are vaccinated. All but one player has at least one shot of the vaccine. The reason that I'm bringing this up is we're kind of entering this situation where professional sports, which makes billions of dollars a year, is trying to prevent, for instance, the Premier League soccer in England lost $4 billion last year because of the COVID pandemic. The NFL does not want to find themselves in a position where they lose money again like they did last year. Everybody lost money last year. You look at from businesses, small businesses to the largest businesses in the world. Everybody lost money in some regard. And the NFL is viewing this vaccination status as a way to keep their business safe. And I'm all for choice. I'm all for people deciding what they want to do with their own medical history. But in the case of a business that makes billions of dollars a year that can't afford to have games postponed, the idea that they want players to be vaccinated actually makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of surprised that they're having issues with players not wanting to get vaccinated. I think a larger view picture of everything that's going on throughout the entire country is the messaging behind the vaccines and the messaging behind masking up is convoluting the actual vaccine distribution. And you're seeing that a lot in the NFL, a lot of players, and not just in the NFL, in sports everywhere. You're seeing a lot of players continue to question not so much the success, but a lot of the messaging behind the vaccines. But they want to make money. You know, obviously teams want to make money, players want to make money. The safest thing to do is to get vaccinated because that means that they should be fine to play, right? Unfortunately, we are seeing a little bit of an uptick in the positive tests as far as vaccinated players go. But as science has shown, it does seem to help the dangerous levels of the COVID-19 illness, I guess you want to say. But they've already had two coaches get fired in the NFL. One was a Vikings assistant coach, was fired, then rehired as a front office member. Cole Popovich, Patriots assistant line coach, was fired, doesn't have a job because he refused to get the vaccine. Again, like I said, the NFL is requiring all coaching staff members to get the vaccine. So you can kind of see where we're going at here. The Seahawks said they have 100% of all coaches vaccinated. It appears most actual coaches around the league are all vaccinated, or we'd see way more firing. So then you look at the college level, and you see the athletes, the student athletes, the coaches who work with these student athletes not getting vaccinated, having issues with getting their players vaccinated. And specifically, the closest example we have to home is that WSU head coach last week did announce that he will not be taking the vaccine moving forward. He cited personal reasons. He is not going into details as to why he does not want to get vaccinated. Recently hired from Hawaii, had a solid first year, is looking to build off of that first year success. He and the rest of the Cougars were projected to be last in the Pac-12 North, which, I mean, is what it is. They were also projected to be pretty bad last year and had a pretty good season. So he went out and he wasn't able to go attend Pac-12 Media Day. He did attend it virtually. He's getting roasted pretty much by everyone, every news outlet in this area for not taking the vaccine. It does cause some problems as a head coach. He still has to distance, has to mask, has to being inside of buildings. He can't be so close to people. So definitely from a purely sports perspective, pretty dangerous for the Cougars moving forward as far as their long-term success, considering the rest of college football will be back to normal, allowing for just a little bit more fluidity as far as play calling and coaching goes. Surprising, though. Still surprising. WSU, the president's not happy. A lot of WSU alumni are not happy. Former board of directors, board of regents at WSU aren't happy about Rolovic's decision, but it's his future he's betting on. I mean, he's the second highest paid public employee in the state behind actually, I think he and UW's coach are pretty darn close. But essentially, both of them make multiple millions of dollars a year, and it's kind of surprising. If I was making that amount of money, I would have been vaccinated last year. I would have found any sort of vaccine to put inside my body if they would give me millions of dollars a year. So really weird dynamic happening in the world of sports with the vaccines. Again, like I said, if we compare this to what's happening on a messaging comes from the government, from health professionals, there's a lot of weird information going around. A lot of convoluting messaging that I think is preventing people from wanting to get the vaccine, including, you're looking at Cole Beasley, Kirk Cousins, some of the assistant coaches I mentioned, Rick Dennison of the Vikings, Cole Popovich of the Patriots, and then now Nick Rolovich, head coach of the Washington State Cougars, is declining to get the vaccine. So moving forward, we'll see how that changes and how things go. The NFL did say that if a team cannot field a team, that it will not be rescheduled this year like it was last year. They will, in fact, forfeit, and the win for the other team will be given. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Pretty interesting stuff, right? That, these guys who, again, I mean, they're literally like betting on millions of dollars, or just completely, they just don't even care, right?
It should be interesting. I would need to look actually more into it to have a legitimate opinion on it.
Actual argument or an actual point.
It's definitely interesting, though. Well, it should be interesting to see how the season goes.
Would you? I mean, it just seems surprising to me for how much money is involved. Like, I mean, they're taking they're taking a stand. I mean, you can't.
Oh, it's definitely a stand.
It's a huge stand for some of these guys. I mean, again, let's see how much Rolovich makes. He makes, again, this is all public information. He's making $3 million a year, and Mike Leach made $5 million. Yeah, Jimmy Lake's making $3 million. I mean, these guys are. I mean, again, he's literally betting on $3 million of his salary if it doesn't go well, because of the fact that he can't coach as well. He could get fired. I don't know what's in his contract. I don't know if you can get fired for not taking a shot. I don't think the Pac-12 has said that, so it's just surprising to me. It's very surprising.
I don't know if they could. Then again, I don't know the rules and regulations behind it. I don't know if he could actually get fired over it.
Well, that's why it's interesting in the NFL. Yeah. Like, I don't know I don't know if they agreed to this, or if this is something the NFL's like, well, we can do it because we can. Like, we want. I mean, the NFL's a lot different than college athletics.
That's very true.
So I think that could be kind of part of it.
Should be very interesting, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting moving forward. So let's talk about toxic relationships here. You guys have any toxic relationships?
Just Vinny. No, I'm just
kidding. Just you and Vinny. That all of us.
Just Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew Tenney.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm the most big proponent of toxic relationships. What about you?
Big toxic relationship guy. No, the biggest and most ridiculous relationship I am in is with the Mariners. Far and away, the Seattle Mariners hurt me more than anybody has in my entire life.
I could see that with you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just constant heartache. They just rip my heart right out. They don't even care. They don't even care about me. They'd rather save money. They'd rather be mediocre while I sit here giving them all of my love. It just doesn't. It's not a two-way street.
Well, all their decisions purely are based around how they affect you emotionally. I believe that they made a statement saying that as well.
That's what I thought. I'm actually pretty upset about it. It happens every single year, but I still love them. I let them into my heart every single year. But then they kick me to the curb while saying they can't wait to see me be happy in the future with whatever I decide to do. But in fact, I want to be happy now. I want them to succeed now. I want them to win now. I just am really hoping that they can make some noise this year. They're 2 games out of a playoff spot from the Oakland Athletics, who currently occupy that position. But they just are always rebuilding. It's been a constant rebuild for 20 years, it seems like. But they have a chance. They have a negative 58 run differential, which is terrible. And it's okay as long as they keep winning, I think. Actually, I have a question here. Would a player's vaccination status affect how you draft in fantasy football? That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
See, I don't think so, because last year there was no vaccine, obviously, and the NFL played. I drafted whoever I wanted to draft for whatever reason. I would never draft Cole Beasley or Kirk Cousins anyway, for two reasons. Kirk Cousins is too up and down, and I hate small wide receivers in the NFL, even though I did have Julian Edelman on my team, which I hated that pick because he got hurt and he wasn't very good anyway. Personally, I don't think the vaccination status would affect my draft strategy. My draft is coming up here in about 3 weeks, but it is a good thought, something I'll have to think about, actually. That does kind of get my brain churning here. All right. I'll have to come back on that one. That's a good question, though. So heading back to the Mariners here, a few days ago, they had one of the best comebacks arguably in Seattle Mariners history because of how it happened, the current state that they find themselves in the wild card hunt, the team they're playing, and it got me jacked. Did we get that video?
Is that the
Grand Slam?
Yeah.
All right, we'll play that in a sec. So essentially, the situation was Mariners went down 6-0 in the first inning. They were down 7-0 later on in the game. They ended up coming back to win 11-8. And it was all thanks to the team, but specifically Dylan Moore, who hit this go-ahead grand slam in the bottom of the 8th inning, and everybody went wild. Let's go ahead and watch that video.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Wow! Deep! This is on its way! Grand slam! Are you kidding me? That was crushed.
There's nothing more exciting than that. Baseball gets a lot of hate for not being exciting, but T-Mobile Park was the most jacked up I've seen it in a long, long time. That put them a game back from the A's a couple nights ago in the wild card hunt. It was, again, like I said, one of the more incredible comebacks in Mariners history. Then, as I mentioned about the whole ripping my heart out, the day after that happened, off of that extreme high, Jerry Dipoto, the GM of the Seattle Mariners, ended up making a trade with the Houston Astros, who we are currently playing, traded Kendall Graveman and Rafael Montero for two guys, one of which is a 37-year-old closer, or actually reliever, Joe Smith, and then 24-year-old Abraham Toro, a corner infielder. This destroyed the attitude in the clubhouse, unfortunately. There were a lot of reports, a lot of them coming from Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. Here are a sampling of the quotes that came from some players. Are you kidding me? It never changes. They don't care about winning. How do you trade him and say we care about winning? And you trade him to Houston. It never changes. And some player said of Dipoto, he hasn't come down here. He sits up in his suite playing fantasy baseball and rips apart our team without telling us anything. Another player said via text, no one has heard a thing, and later texted, I've seen a lot of teammates walk out the door, but this one hurts the most and is the most messed up. The team deserves an explanation. And then Marco Gonzalez went on to Instagram, essentially saying goodbye to Kendall Graveman, and then saying that he's going to need an explanation for this one. And then Kyle Seager's wife even posted an emoji with the zipper over the lips. A lot of people were pretty upset. Very weird move to make coming off of a game like that. Graveman's only given up 3 runs in 33 innings, became one of the best relievers in baseball this season. He's been a kind of middling actual starter, ended up switching to the bullpen last year and has been one of the best relievers in baseball over the last 2 years. Dipoto did say that more moves are likely coming, so don't take this one on face value. Unfortunately, it's hard to do so after a game like that. The Mariners went on to lose the last 2 games after that trade, both of which they were not very competitive. So it was just kind of a shot in the gut again. This whole idea of this toxic relationship between me and the Seattle Mariners continues and probably will continue for a long time until this rebuild that's been in process for the last 5 or 6 years actually comes to fruition and things actually happen. We'll see if that does in fact happen, because if not, that relationship is just going to continue to get even more and more toxic. But the Mariners do play. Actually, they have an off day today. They play the Texas Rangers tomorrow night. And Texas is hot garbage, so they actually have a chance to continue to make up some games on the Oakland Athletics and actually the Toronto's behind them, and the Rays, who are a couple games above the Oakland Athletics. So Another weird news that actually was broken yesterday. The Big 12 lost a few teams, or could potentially lose a couple teams. Oklahoma and Texas plan to move to the SEC in 2025. They have already asked for a formal invitation. The Big 12 commissioner sent a cease and desist letter to ESPN yesterday, essentially saying that ESPN has been actively engaged in discussions with at least one other conference regarding that conference introducing additional members of the Big 12 conference to leave the Big 12 conference. That is, in fact, the Oklahoma and Texas news of them wanting to join the SEC, which ESPN just received the broadcast rights to. The network, Big 12, said that the network is intentionally interfering with our business operations by encouraging other conferences to poach the members of the Big 12 and providing incentives to them to do so. That was Bob Bowlesby, the Big 12 commissioner. Pretty serious allegations, actually, against the Big 12. Against ESPN in the Big 12 SEC battle right now. The Big 12 is really having some problems. Other members are talking about leaving the Big 12. Could, in fact, be folding sooner rather than later if these accusations are not true. Big news there, though, in college football, which we'll keep an eye on moving forward because Big 12 is one of the largest conferences in football. SEC, obviously, is the largest. With ESPN getting a large share of the broadcast rights to the SEC, there is a little bit of funny business potentially happening behind the scenes. Now it's up to the Big 12 to prove that. So we'll keep an eye on that moving forward because that could end up being some huge news against ESPN, which they have been dealing with plenty of negative press over the last few years. But this one could potentially be one of the worst as far as pure money goes. But I do want to point out who's not doing bad, and that's Windermere Services Mountain West, one of my favorite companies in the world, actually, but specifically the Mountain West.
Absolutely great company.
Absolutely great company who proudly services over 60 Windermere offices in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Eastern Oregon, and Montana. They are all in for their local communities. At Windermere Services Mountain West, relationships are the foundation of their business. The mission is to be successful, team-oriented real estate professionals committed to exceeding expectations through exceptional customer service. They are Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West is committed to the communities in which we live and work. They are all in for you. So if you need a real estate agent, look no further than Windermere Mountain West. They have plenty of offices in the Spokane area with a lot of very qualified and impressive realtors, right?
Absolutely.
Are you going to buy a house soon?
Probably not, but you never know.
All right. You never really know. Let's see here. You guys, what's your thoughts on Barstool?
So I have not personally watched a whole lot of Barstool stuff. Yep. The little bits I have always been entertaining.
Right. Podcasts and other videos.
They're there. That's my opinion on them. Is that they're there.
Right. That's fair. They were built from the ground up, being essentially nobody. Now
that is true. That is true.
I mean, they're tens of millions of dollars. They've literally just grown. They now have a female CEO, which a lot of people said was just them, trying to fill a spot. But Erica Nardini is actually a very impressive individual who runs Barstool now. Essentially, why I'm bringing up Barstool, actually, going back to college football, is Barstool now owns the sponsorship rights to the Arizona Bowl, which is big because that's what CBS used to have the broadcast rights to. So Barstool Sports will be the exclusive broadcast partner for the game. Barstool Sports does not own any TV rights, but the company will utilize its full website, app, social media to broadcast the game. A lot of people are pretty upset about it, actually, considering that Barstool is, again, new to the business. And this will be one of the first bowl games, actually the first bowl game to not be broadcast on network television. Again, the Barstool CEO, Erica Nardini, said that she believes that what they can do is to take the best of traditional broadcast and take the best of traditional sponsorship and do both in a brand new way. We think we'll bring new fans. We know we will bring a level of energy, and we'll cover the game in a way that is completely unique and uniquely Barstool. So would you watch I'd watch a Barstool broadcast of a football game. I think that actually sounds pretty fun.
It depends. I mean,
would you watch it with us? You wouldn't probably sit down and just watch it like on a Saturday and be like, "This is so exciting."
I would watch it with you guys. Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to see what they can do. Again, it's moving the media forward in a way that has never been done before, in a way that probably freaks out some of the major networks like ESPN and CBS and Fox.
Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it makes them also have to grow, and it makes them, cater to the audiences a little bit more, considering those three have pretty much ran everything over the last few decades. So pretty excited to see what they can do. Also, since ESPN usually has a lot of those, it'll be nice to see somebody other than ESPN actually get a bowl game. So I want you to show me before. Okay, so a little bit of background. We're gonna move into jabroni. Actually, let's do our jabroni. Let's do our official. Do you have that?
I do. The one that you requested.
Let's put that up. Before the show, I wanted Sam and Vinny, specifically Sam, to make a very special Photoshop of a movie poster that puts the best of both worlds for my two top jabronis of all time. Let's go ahead and toss that up there.
And you have not seen this, correct?
I have not. Yes, I have not seen this yet, so I'm very excited to see what he was able to come up with.
And before we go into this, I do want to let you know, after you are done, I actually, since this is I'm co-hosting with you today a little bit.
Yep.
I actually have a jabroni myself. So
once
you
you're
do? Done here,
Perfect. I am thrilled to hear yours actually after this. So here's my jabronis for the day. This is Space Jam 2's movie poster here with LeBron front and center, as always, King Jabroni of this show, it appears. And we put Andrew Tenney also as our jabroni here.
He is Andrew Bunny.
He is Andrew Bunny right now. So he is a jabroni for not showing up to the show for now the third time. This one, again, he is working, so I will forgive him for that, and I will forgive him for his other absences. But I'm going to make him a jabroni anyway because I wanted him to be next to his good old pal LeBron there in Space Jam 2. Did you guys watch Space Jam 2?
I have, and it's my jabroni, actually.
Oh, even better. So go ahead and do yours, and I'll give my little breakdown. Go ahead.
Okay, so my jabroni is Space Jam.
Yep.
I personally am indifferent about LeBron.
Yep.
I mean, I understand your gripes with him, but he's a great player. Fantastic. He's one of the best to ever play the game.
1A, 1B.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie yet?
No, I won't.
Okay. Well, my issue with the movie is the fact that what they did with Lola Bunny and Bugs.
Okay.
They changed it to Andrew and Justin, and
we go.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
The acting was really poor.
Look at my ears though.
The Photoshop job during the whole movie was just really strange. It was rough to get through just staring at your faces the entire time.
Was that at least a decent actor?
The cartoon half was pretty good. I actually haven't seen the movie. This was just you.
This was just
for fun.
This is just for fun.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I heard it's not worth it. I saw someone tweet like, "Well, if you don't like the show, the movie, it wasn't designed for you. It was designed for kids." And it's like, I don't care. I can still say I still like Disney movies. It's not like, and other like new animated movies are fine. So when people are saying like it's not built for you, it's like, well, a lot of these movies aren't built for me or us.
True.
But I still liked it. I just have no interest. I have no interest in watching a subpar actor like LeBron and weird animation and already a weird premise. Just no interest.
I understand why they did it.
I do too.
I love the first one still.
Right.
I still think the original is fantastic.
Yep.
I'm glad that I still think the weirdest thing was how the internet freaked out over Lola Bunny.
Yeah, they did.
She's obviously aged, which is exactly what should happen.
That happens to bunnies.
It does.
It does happen to bunnies. Yeah. They do in fact age. Animated bunnies confirmed do age.
Do you think you're going to watch it?
No.
I will probably watch it.
I have access to HBO. I mean, I could literally watch it for free, but I don't want to give a dime to LeBron.
Okay, that's understandable.
I'm not a big fan of giving royalties. He makes so much money. He doesn't need my royalties. Someone else will give him his royalties.
I can't imagine how much money he's made off this movie.
No.
It's got to be ridiculous.
I mean, just, wild amounts of money that I can't even fathom, I'm sure. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I've been doing a lot of like sports fact of the day. And that's been pretty fun, right? You've learned some pretty interesting
I've enjoyed
stuff,
it.
right?
I've learned a few things.
I'm running out of like really good facts. Like a lot of them coming up are just garbage ones. So I think I'm going to switch it to today's sports fact to on this day in sports history. I think that's a little more interesting.
So what you're saying is you're introducing a brand new segment.
I am introducing a brand new segment today without Andrew Tenney and without his approval.
Oh man.
But that's the joy when you're the one here, right? Like you can do whatever you want. Like I could say whatever I want. I could put him on a movie poster.
I mean, I could mute you, but
you could mute me. That is true. You do have that sort of power.
I have all the power here.
You do have all the power. That's fair.
I won't
is
do
actually
that,
very fair.
I won't do that, though. It's okay.
I'm going to give you 2 here.
Ooh, starting off the new segment with 2.
Yep.
I like it.
So I have to figure out. Okay, yep, I have 2, and they're going to be the oldest ones on this day. So on this day, July 29th, you want the 1751 or 1874 first?
We'll go chronologically. So 1751.
All right. The first international world title prize fight happened on this day in 1751.
Wow, who was fighting?
Jack Stack, which seems fake. Jack
That's
Stack.
gotta be fake.
That's totally fake, actually. I should probably double check.
Is
this.
it Jack the Stack or Jack Stack?
Jack Stack?
Okay.
Yep. Of England beats his challenger. I guess they don't have his first name. It's M. His initial is M, but it's Petite of France. That's why. If you have a name like Petite, you're obviously going to lose to a guy like Jack Stack.
Yeah, but you
right?
gotta think it's also he had to be somewhat decent for the first. What'd you say it was? Prize fight.
First world title prize fight. Yeah.
I mean, he had to have been.
Well, it's France. The guy's from France. Of course, he's going to lose.
I think we are well established on your opinions on France.
Yeah, we are well established on. Yeah. Well, a lot of people are. A lot of people know just historically the French have been decently weak, right? That's not just a me thing, right?
That's your opinion.
That's world history. I think that's world history. I think that's they lose a lot. They need a lot of help, which is fine. They provided a lot of cool things to this world. It was a 29-minute fight. It was in England, so he had home field advantage. That's probably it.
We're excluding French revolutions from the topic, correct?
Well, that's French beating other French. Like it's like two weak guys.
They're pretty impressive during revolutions.
Right? What?
They're pretty impressive during revolutions.
They look impressive.
We are also dumb Americans, so
yeah, but we win a lot.
Do we just have the biggest stick?
That's it. That is very true. That does help. That definitely helps. All right, 1874 on this day, Major Walter Copton Wingfield.
That's quite the name.
Major Walter Copton Wingfield patents the portable tennis court. I don't know what that means.
What is a portable tennis court?
Is that ping pong? Or is that literally a portable tennis court? And that's right, you said the internet's down. So I can't even look up what that is. I'm going to look it up on my phone.
Okay, well, if it's not ping pong, while you're looking up, I'm going to assume it means ping pong or table tennis.
You would hope so, right? In 1874, that's decently new. So he's in the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Okay.
No, wait, he patented a new and improved. I'm not going to find it.
That's okay.
No, his idea was to create a portable court for playing the old-fashioned tennis, and he imagined the game being constructed on croquet courts. I don't think this is actually that impressive. Now that I'm reading up on it, I think it's just a garbage patent. I can make a patent for something that isn't that cool. But still, that. Major Walter Copton Wingfield, whoever he is, nicely done with that patent. Quickly here, ending up the show with, as usual, closing time. Did you look at my closing time, by the way? It's actually kind of cool.
Actually, I don't know. Did you send me your closing time?
No, I didn't send you anything. I didn't send you anything because there's nothing really to send you.
Oh, so, yeah. I saw that. That is...
it's pretty interesting stuff.
Real interesting.
So MLB will be testing over the next few years new technology to combat sign stealing in the majors. Since the Astros cheated their way to a title a couple years ago, Astros are cheaters, and they should have their title taken away. Anyway, that's a discussion for another time. So it's going to start out here in the minors. It's called PitchCom. PitchCom system consists of a small push-button device worn on a catcher's wristband, as well as audio transmitters in the sweatband of a pitcher's cap and inside the catcher's helmet. The catcher's wrist device has 9 buttons that can be used to signal the type of pitch and the desired location. Each button corresponds to either a Spanish or English audio recording that will be heard in the ear of the catcher and the pitcher. The transmitters use bone conduction technology, meaning the recordings will bypass the ear canal but can still be heard. This is intended to reduce the amount of worn technology while also allowing players to maintain situational awareness. Essentially, it's like encrypted end-to-end on multiple levels. Again, it bypasses the ear canal, so I don't know how they do that. I've seen that sort of technology, but I don't know how it works. Pretty cool stuff.
In baseball will be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting because, a lot of just classic baseball is, you throw the signs between the catcher's legs and everybody, there's always been sign stealing manually, but they use technology. The Astros did when they won the title. So it's trying to prevent that sort of sign stealing, but still it's a very interesting piece of technology. And that's what MLB does. They use their minor league teams to present new technology, to present new rules to see if it'll fit on the professional level. Again, this is just starting to get introduced here in the lower minor league programs of baseball. So we'll see if that does end up coming to the pros anytime soon. It seems sort of complicated. That's a lot of buttons that he would have to push, right? I feel like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. It depends on how big, are they little tiny buttons? Is it going to cover half of his forearm? Is it just going to go around his wrist? I also feel like that's a lot of
potentially
technology
a lot of just gear
have on your wrist too.
No,
especially as a catcher.
Right. I mean, and what happens if it gets hit? I think they have 2. I read that they'll have 2. Each team will have 2. Only the catcher who's actively catching gets to wear it, and the pitcher actively pitching gets to wear it as well. But they'll have an extra in a sealed box that can't be opened by anybody. I don't know. It's very interesting stuff. So,
I would assume that whatever material they make out of it would be pretty durable.
You'd
It would
hope
have
so,
to be.
right? I know that they tried to do real quick. They tried to do another system where on underneath or like behind the home plate, they had like little lights that they were trying to show that only the pitcher could see from that height. But pitchers have different heights, so that obviously was scrapped pretty darn fast. So this technology is pretty interesting. We'll see if that does in fact make its way to the pros anytime soon. But yeah, we'll see. All right, how you guys doing back there?
We're doing
Pretty
great.
good.
Yeah.
Vinny? Nice. That's what I like to hear. All right. Well, that was another solo show here on The Locker Room. Andrew should be back next week, in theory, as long as one of his coworkers don't bail on him at the last second. Did he text us that last night?
Yeah, it was last night pretty late.
Right, pretty late. I was playing softball, which, of course, we won, as
Did
usual.
you get hit at all?
Did I get hit?
Yeah,
no, I didn't
always come in with war stories from
I
your
did
softball
not
games.
take a ball off of anything.
Congratulations.
Last
Is this
night.
the first game
First
this
time in
season?
a while, actually, yeah. Usually I get drilled by something, but not this time. So we'll be here next week on August 5th, show number 54 here on The Locker Room. Again, Andrew will be back next week. But thanks for stopping by here. Again, this is The Locker Room presented by Spokane Talk, sponsored by both Lucky Bird and Windermere Mountains West. We'll see you next week here in the Holly Mason building.
This is my verbal salute for Andrew
there
not
you
being
go.
here.
Good call.